Hello, it's me.
What is going on, YouTube? Good morning, good morning. It is a wonderful day here. It's 60 degrees in the morning and 90 in the evening. So it's so good to see you. Thank you again for all of the support. We've really been growing, so thank you so much for that.
Shut the hell up, Joe, shut up.
But anyway, we've got a wonderful video today. I watch a lot of Steven Crowder here, and I saw one of his videos talking about Barack Obama. Now, he goes through a bunch of opinions that factually are just incorrect. So we're going to take a look through this, and we're going to dissect some of the stuff he says. And, of course, there'll be Steven Crowder's commentary as well mixed in. So let's go ahead and get started. Also, I fixed my microphone. Turns out it was a weird software deal, but yeah, we figured it out. So let's get started here.
You don't use our military on domestic soil.
Wrong.
That's what I was just about to say.
Unless there's an extraordinary emergency of some sort.
Which there is.
That when you see an administration suggest that ordinary street crime is an insurrection.
Well, that's because there's actually an insurrection.
Or a terrorist act.
Or a terrorist act.
Yep.
That is a genuine effort to weaken how we have understood democracy.
What is
One of the most racist presidents in history of America.
Crime to attempt to firebomb ICE facilities? Let me be really clear. If he's talking about Antifa, which is an extension of Black Lives Matter, Antifa is a terror group. We all know that Barack Obama was a horrible president, right?
He was racist,
but
man.
What if I were to tell you that now, in his post-presidency, he's giving Jimmy Carter a run for his money, and that it may be the worst ever he's gotten?
I didn't think anyone could top Carter until Biden came.
We can actually treat everybody with decency and respect and compromise and make.
You say that, Obama, but what about the details that Tulsi came out with, like pretty much indicting you of foul play towards the Trump administration? Like before he even became president, they have actual detailed information that you maliciously created propaganda and spread it so that he could not become president. What a racist trash human being. What a disgrace to America. This is pathetic.
Make democracy work. It shines a light for the entire world.
Right.
All right, Mr.
And
Racist.
the other path of tribe and a zero-sum game and everything's dog-eat-dog and a competition and you try to take advantage of the other person because they're going to try to take advantage of you.
Isn't that what you
is
did?
the path that leads to things like World War II and the Holocaust and
India.
That's actually not true.
slavery.
Targeting
and-
Americans
and
with the
Pol
IRS.
Pot and
Communism.
Jeez.
Rwanda. What you're seeing
Communism.
right now is a reassertion.
This is insane.
This idea of like, nope, if you don't look a certain way, you don't think a certain way, you don't practice a certain faith.
We might elect you president.
You know, you're
That's exactly what you did, Obama. What the actual... It's crazy. All the things that he's saying don't do are things that he actually did.
not a real American. And I started to see this during my, that's what birtherism was about, right?
Yeah.
That's what, when Sarah Palin was talking about real Americans versus...
I think
Right.
Obama might have been the
I
first
guess the
DEI
unreal
president.
Americans. It was that.
Now,
that
hold
was
on a
already
second.
boiling over.
I want to clarify before we get on with this. This is why we have seen more civil unrest and a racial divide like we have never seen in our lifetime because of
What
you
did I just say?
Everybody knows that when
What did I just say?
Sarah Palin or Donald Trump or you, when you say real American, you mean somebody who loves this country.
Yep.
Who loves what makes this country unique and wants to preserve it.
I
He
do.
does
I'm
that
very
little switch
grateful.
where he goes, now, if they don't look like you, Sarah Palin, we all know she was saying that
If they don't look like
blacks aren't
you,
American.
they don't talk
that's
like
not
you.
What she was saying. She was talking about people who actually value this country and don't want us to be like other countries. More specifically, we can even just go with white people. Europe. I don't want to be like Europe. I don't want to be like the rape capital of the modern world. To be clear.
No.
And he also, what was it? Play that last portion again, really quickly.
Yeah, hold on. There we go.
I love Steven, just as a side note. I think he's a little too aggressive. I almost think he's a little socially awkward. Like he doesn't everything is like serious, like do or die. I think there's a lot of like wiggle room to understand other people, but I think he's such an intense person that that's just his deal. I'm a little more laid back. I agree with like probably 80% of what he says, but I think the other 20% comes from being a little socially awkward and intense. And I think that's where we disagree. But I think he's a really sound guy.
That's what when Sarah Palin was talking.
Oh, right. That's right. Sorry. He said the
real
birtherism thing.
Americans.
Let me
Right,
tell you why.
birtherism.
And birtherism, did it end up being silly? Yeah. But here's the reason why. The reason why was because this was a man who was so distinctly anti-American, who talked about colonialism, who talked about black liberation theology, and I believe Derek Bell, and he sat under his tutelage. And he talked about being raised in Kenya, and he seemed to revile everything that makes America, America. Even when he was elected, his wife said it was the first time she was ever proud of the United States. That means that all of the years she was alive up until then, she was ashamed of the United States of America. People thought, this guy can't be running. This guy doesn't even seem American. So that was spurred on. Was he born in the United States? I believe so. Is he American?
No.
Well, he's doing his damnedest to make it seem like he's not. And that brings us to this edition, the post-presidency edition of Barack Obama.
Let's
what
say
a
it.
piece of shit.
I wish I could do YouTube videos like this. Steven
As
is
always,
so
all the
good.
references, links are in the descriptions. Doesn't exist in a vacuum. This was a guy who led the country for 8 years, very,
That's right.
very poorly.
Oh my goodness,
And
I know.
now you start to see, right, the mask comes off, who he really is and what he really
Like, chat, when Obama was president, I had 2 college degrees, okay? Exercise science and kinesiology. That's what I was into. I was a bodybuilder back then. I was 200 some odd pounds, benching 450 on incline for reps. I mean, I was stupid strong. And that's the only thing in college I wanted to do. So I got a major in that. Of course, we live in Mississippi. It's economically, there's 2 things that we have plenty of: farmland and doctors. And, you would think with the exercise science kinesiology background, I could do something in the medical field, PT. I could be an assistant of some sort. I could do rehabilitation training and all of that. Nope. Once I got out of college, this was during Obama's reign, I couldn't even get a job at Zaxby's or Cracker Barrel or Wendy's or McDonald's. Like, they weren't hiring me. They said I was too overqualified. And they had spots open. It's just they didn't want a smart guy working there, I guess, or a college-educated guy. They'd rather get someone who, I guess, needs the job more. I had a wife. I had a family, and I couldn't feed them. And it was directly because of Obama's economic policies. I just remember not being able to find work. As hard as I tried, I could not find work.
believes. A lot of people thought he was very smart, and he was moderate. No, he was not.
He was not
Just because
moderate
he was
at all.
personable does not mean he was smart or moderate. He was a radical. The first one
He
we've had in our
absolutely
lifetime
was.
who really paved the way for the modern Democratic Party. When people say, I didn't leave the left left me, say that 5 times fast. What they mean to say is Barack Obama brought a lot of this into play.
Racism,
So let's get
economic
this is on Mark
degradation,
Maron's,
socialism.
WTF podcast, not the first time he's done it. Always goes to friendly audiences, of course. The left, their ideas can't stand up to scrutiny, so it makes sense.
Yep.
Here he is showing his saltiness, I guess you could say, about President Trump.
Biden was like
overturning
Obama on
his corrupt,
steroids. Kamala was worse.
weaponizing our institution's legacy.
What was unusual for me was
How radical I
obviously,
was.
a lot of what I represented.
Yeah.
A lot of what Michelle and I
Socialism.
had tried to project.
Racism.
The values.
Oh, racism. Heck yeah,
are
brother.
thinking about
Absolutely.
America.
My first encounters with racist black people were when Obama was president. I had not seen any racism my entire life up until Obama was president. And then it's like the transgender thing. It went from being like no one really knew about it to it's mainstream. Like everybody's racist now. I mean, this guy is an absolute POS.
You know,
All we could do
my
is pray for
successor
him.
seemed to represent the
I
opposite.
don't think it's going
The
to help.
one you spied
though.
on?
Not seemed, did.
Yeah.
The one you spied on.
And
Yeah, right.
so I think there was a lot of
I love
anger,
Crowder.
a lot of sadness,
Yeah.
some fear among a big chunk of the country.
Yeah, there was a lot of sadness because people didn't see their wages increase, unlike Donald Trump. We'll get to that. There was a lot of fear because we were seeing crime levels and crime waves
Skyrocket.
across the city. And it's not across the country, largely in blue cities. And it's not just that we saw crime waves, because people will try and tweak the statistics, massage them. It's
That's
that we
right.
saw people commit crimes. You guys remember, right? Black
That's
Lives
right.
Matter started before Donald Trump. That's why he was elected. He was the law and order president. People try and say it's his fault, it's his rhetoric. No, it was Barack Obama's
It was
results
Barack's. Yep.
that yielded Donald Trump as a response.
All these things
When
have a
people
cause and
saw that
effect.
kind of crime, they saw those riots, and they were told.
Like chat. Like if you don't understand this, I need you to understand this. And I'm not being mean or ugly. I'm just saying there's a cause and effect to everything, right? So let's say I become the president and I decide, okay, well, eggs are now $50 a dozen. And then I get impeached. And then Donald Trump gets in office, or whoever the next president is. Let's say J.D. Vance or whatever. He comes in and eggs are still $50 a dozen. Well, what most Americans do is they say, well, see, under J.D. Vance, eggs are $50 a dozen, even though I was the one who raised the price. And so J.D. Vance will now get a bad rap, and everyone, because so many people are just, unfortunately, they're not very intelligent. They're not very high IQ. They hear something. I have some friends like this, just not very intelligent. You know, they hear something, all of a sudden it becomes law, and they go and tell their friends, and then it becomes reality, and it's a crap show. But the reality is, I hiked the price up, and J.D. Vance gets the blame for it. That's exactly what's happening with Trump, especially with all of Biden's policies. And a lot of people are blaming Trump on it. So
Told to stand down. It wasn't just that there was a difference. It wasn't that there was an increase in crime. There was a difference in crime. And that
That's
for the
right.
first time, Americans, at least in this generation, knew that they were made to feel completely helpless. And they were vilified if they didn't have more empathy for the criminal than for their family.
I remember during Obama and Biden's era, if you were a white male, like that was the biggest screw you could possibly have on on your resume. Like if you say I'm a white male, next, not interested. White privilege, white this, white that. You're a privileged white male. I mean, Obama vilified the white man for sure. He was the most racist president in history.
So Barack Obama did forever irreparably change the fabric of this country by handing
right.
over a lot of the power to criminals. What a piece of
He's talking about people being sad
Hey,
and angry.
I've got
Maybe
one
they
of
were
those
sad
too.
and angry because they had a primary and the Democratic Party didn't primary the way they're supposed to and put Hillary Clinton out there.
Yeah, that could be said. Same one who took all the W's off the keyboard when her husband left office and George W. Bush came in. But they're civil.
Come on.
They followed the court.
They read the BuzzFeed article.
Yeah.
They read the BuzzFeed, yeah.
And here's Barack Obama trying to subvert our constitutional republic by implying that President
Get him,
Trump is
Crowder.
eroding democracy. Ooh, those are loaded words by.
The only one, hey, actually listen to this. The only one who eroded democracy was Obama, because foul play is strictly like a Democrat thing. I'm not saying Republicans don't do it. I'm saying Democrats are getting caught left and right and have been for a very long time. So when you talk about democracy, that means basically voting into power, right? So when Obama interferes with that, then Obama and Biden and Harris, all these people who are trying to screw the statistics and make them seem like, all this stuff is happening when it's really not. These guys are actually fundamentally destroying democracy because they're taking your vote away. They're saying we're going to get the Democrat guy in no matter what. That is destroying democracy. Now, did Trump interfere with the election? No. The Russia thing, it was started by Obama, someone who is actively racist and destroying the country and destroying democracy. So really, the evil ones are Biden, Kamala, and Barack.
Sending the military against
Barrack.
what he calls
Obama.
You don't use our military
Actually, you do.
domestic soil
You can and you do.
unless there is an extraordinary emergency of some sort.
Burning for 100 days.
That
Police aren't
when you
incentivizing
see
to
an administration
follow the law.
suggest that ordinary street crime
Police can't
is
arrest
an
anybody because they
insurrection
have no money. Everybody's moving out, burning to the ground for 100 days.
or a terrorist act.
Sounds like terrorism. Antifa.
That is a
Come
genuine
on, come
effort
on.
to weaken how we have understood democracy.
Okay, so first off, I don't know if he's referring to the record murders in cities like Chicago. I don't know if he's talking about the crime wave sweeping these blue cities in the country because
Let's
the police have
go.
been defunded or basically kneecapped. I don't know. But if he's referring to Antifa, so, what is normal street crime? Is it normal street crime to attempt to firebomb ICE facilities? Let me be really clear. If he's talking about Antifa, which is an extension of Black Lives Matter, Antifa is a terror group. How do I know? They have chapters. They have recruitment policies. They have a mission statement. They have membership. They have a reason for they have a cause. And by the way, they get massive NGO
Antifa
funding. We've talked about that in Data Republic, and we have traced that. And these people are actively stopping the mandate of the masses. Donald Trump was elected in order to secure the border and has overwhelming support in deporting illegal aliens.
Zero crossings for months.
Some small radical terrorists have taken it upon themselves to stop, to halt the will of the people. And he's also wrong where he says, hey, our military shouldn't be on. And you've actually done this.
That is wrong.
Our military is not to be used on American soil. Well, that's what the National Guard is for.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
literally their job.
That's their
It's not like
job,
they're sending
yeah.
Army Rangers or Navy SEALs into these cities.
Yeah.
They're sending the National Guard to protect a federal building. That's literally their job. It's in their mission statement. Like, not exactly, but yeah. And he's not one to talk. I mean, I was in a unit at Fort Bliss, Texas, that was used in an operation called Operation Nimbus.
I knew I liked
where
this guy.
These are not National Guard. These are active duty Army soldiers, infantrymen, and Cav scouts were sent on Operation Nimbus to go patrol the southern border with Border Patrol.
Right. Yeah.
30 round. Maybe it was a 20. Maybe they limited us to 20 rounds.
Yeah.
But I think it was a 30 round. One magazine we were allowed to have, and they sent us out to patrol the border. And I'm not saying that's wrong.
Right.
And he tried
I'm
to
not
do it
saying it's
quietly.
wrong what they did, but to come back, 8 years later, 10 years, whatever it is, and go, how dare he use the military, and how dare he deport this many people, bitch.
I know. Yeah, and by the way, if it was me and they said one magazine, I'd have like a Tommy gun drum.
Yeah.
That one. Just a belt.
It's 100 rounds, but it's one mag. Dude, what do you want from me?
Yeah, and what he really means, what's the alternative? The alternative is no, they should be allowed to continue with their crimes, to stop the deportations, to be taking over whole city blocks, and let the local authorities deal with it, where we have a city legislature that's controlled by Democrats who want to defund them. There is no alternative. We've reached...
I literally think America was at a boiling point when Obama became president because he was the first well-spoken black man. And that's what people saw him as. If you go back and you remember, you ask people, that people used to interview people, why are you voting for Obama? Well, he's the first black president. We want a black president. He'd be the first. So, well-spoken appears to sound right. But bro, socialist radical, he's insane.
At this point, because
I think that's why he got elected.
Barack Obama, what?
Because America is a little racist.
Here's the next one.
That's a good one. Did you record that yourself?
I don't know if you know this,
That wasn't
but
a soundbite.
the Democrats, namely former
The first
President
time they
Obama
get a
now, they have lot
soundbite.
of- you know what their big problem is? It's a surprise to you. Masks.
Oh.
We don't want masked, folks with rifles and machine
Maybe
guns.
they shouldn't
paintball guns.
attack people's
Patrolling our
families who are
streets.
doing their job
And here's the thing. It doesn't work.
because they're violent.
It doesn't work anymore
You
because
have to.
Look, there was a period of time where the left
I
they
wanna
were
go
setting
home.
things up, they were orchestrating, and we didn't really know. We thought,
I don't want to go home and my family's been murdered because these people are absolutely insane. Of course they wear masks. I mean, like, what the heck's wrong with you? Duh. I mean, are you stupid? Duh. Yeah, they wear masks.
yeah, okay, love
They
is love.
have to.
I thought,
These
yeah,
people
okay,
are
more
insane.
people getting health care. That sounds good. Now we are living through what they have orchestrated, and we have seen them lock people down.
That's
we have
right.
seen them, by the way, tell folks to wear masks. We have seen them encourage the summer of love, where people also, again, rioted with masks. It falls on deaf ears. The biggest enemy, or the biggest hurdle that the left needs to overcome, is America's lying eyes and ears.
Yep.
And that's really tough. When you shouldn't be out there with masks on. Really? When did
Why don't
most
you go do their
Americans,
job and
for
then
the
come back
first
and
time
talk to
ever,
me?
see masks as a popular endeavor, a trend? One time in our lifetime. That's right, COVID.
That's
it was
right.
encouraged and it continued. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Also, do you mean masked people, by the way, when you're talking about We don't want people with masks going out there enforcing the law. Do you mean like Tim Walz using the National Guard in 2020 with paintball guns enforcing curfew?
Like Fauci putting on 3
during
masks.
the George Floyd
the
riots.
first 2
of
didn't
course,
work.
only on the law-abiding Americans. The rest were given space to destroy.
Get inside! Get in your house now! Let's go!
Look, if people were armed, walking the street, telling me to get the heck in my house, I absolutely would.
Collusion?
Yeah, if someone with
No,
a
see,
gun said
that's
get in the
okay because
house,
it's being used against American citizens. Think about that.
I would
They
go
were
in the
fine
house.
locking you down. They
And
were
it was
fine with
wrong.
not even law enforcement officials with masks burning down cities. $2 billion in the first couple of months. No one has actually followed up on that, by the way.
Yep.
I've seen estimates as high as $10 billion in
I don't
damages,
think 10.
but we don't know. We
I
don't know.
don't think
They
10.
weren't
That's way
firing at
too
people
high.
that were blocking a roadway. They weren't firing at people that were impeding with law enforcement operations. They weren't firing at people that were trying to break into an ICE facility and break their lines. They were literally firing at people for being on their front porch.
Right.
Where they pay
Yeah.
property taxes.
That's right.
Or as Barack Obama refers to it, just basic run-of-the-mill crime. Really? Okay, what a piece of
That's crazy how they found that clip.
And
Oh, he had a
here's
skipper.
That's really rich, the man who is probably most responsible for weaponizing not only our justice system, but all of our 3-letter agencies, including the IRS, against American citizens because of political persuasion. He
Okay.
really laments now that we have an unfair justice system under President Trump.
We don't want
What about the one Biden was
kangaroo
under?
courts and trumped up charges. That's what happens in other places that we used to scold for doing that.
Your opinion
want
is so below
our
average.
court system and our Justice Department and our
I
prosecutors
pity
to be, and
the
our
thoughts
FBI
that
to
come
be
into your
just
head.
playing things straight and looking at the facts and not meddling in
He acts
politics
like
the
he's
way,
only
the
played
way
fair.
We've seen lately.
What a narcissist,
It's like
man.
the lawlessness, the weaponizing of the judicial system is kind of like their creed.
Wait, did you say Creed?
Creed?
No,
Creed?
no.
Oh my goodness. Look at his belly.
Oh, you did. You did say
Never
Creed.
that word
You
again.
asked for it.
I will never say it again.
Word again.
Talks about weaponizing. Does it mean like the Russia hoax directed by Barack Obama and his crew? Does it mean like Fast and Furious? You can go back to photo negative of Ned Flanders, right? Eric Holder. Does he mean like the lawfare against Donald Trump? Does he mean like in January 6th where you had over 200 FBI agents in the crowd, no due process? I don't know. Doesn't seem like he applies the same standard. Barack Obama, what a piece of shit.
He's got a track
Now
record.
here's the next main talking point.
This is a
Trying
bunch
to
of
divide the
goons.
United
These
States of
guys are
America. And let us
goons.
know, we might just start at 50. I know he's
I love
waiting.
it.
We might just start at 11:50. I'll let Jason know. He wants to drive a wedge. Again, even though he's not president anymore, that's what he does. He's very good. He's very good at driving wedges.
That's right.
No idea if he still understands the concept of the wheel. He could be like one of his.
Jeez.
He says that the wealth gap, not him, not the Democratic Party, the wealth gap is what is driving division in America.
Okay.
The idea that some people now have $400 billion on their way to $1 trillion, and you've got ordinary people still trying to figure out how to eat and pay the rent. That is driving a lot of this. Right?
That sounds like socialism. Like, let's just do away with capitalism and make it, well, actually, it sounds like communism. Let's give everyone the same amount and control everything they do because they, now that we're paying them, they owe us. So everyone's going to do this and that. And they're going to make this amount of money, and then the income gap goes away. But now you have a tyrannical government that runs everything. And that'll, Obama under a democracy, you saw that clip where that man was firing at them for being on their porch. Imagine what more he would do if he was given that kind of authority and power.
And part of
this guy's just
what
it's unbelievable
I
the
think
thoughts
we
that
have to
he's
spend more
entertaining.
time thinking about.
They're not
is
rational. They don't make
some
sense.
Old-fashioned values that aren't based just on money and how much you got.
It's a tired old attack, and let me be really clear. The problem in our country isn't the wealth gap.
That's right.
By itself. It's poverty and it's quality of life. In
Absolutely.
other words, if you have a wide wealth gap, but
Absolutely.
you have very few people in poverty, that's better than having a narrow wealth gap, but
And
everyone
a
lives in
lot of
poverty.
people-
See Venezuela.
yeah,
See
yeah,
Cuba. they don't really have the same kind of wealth gap. So the real problem is poverty and standard of living. And we have the answers on that, where that actually tends to flourish. Annual incomes under Barack Obama, 8 years, they went up an average of $1,043. Annual incomes, on average, under Donald Trump, went up $4,000 his very first term.
$1,000's not a lot, by the way.
$1,000, and then an extension of Barack Obama, former Vice President Biden, went down $4,200.
Yeah,
also,
I knew that
we're
was
talking
coming.
about the wealth gap. If we want to go with the premise, under Biden, Barack Obama 2.0, right? We saw the greatest wealth transfer in modern American history. Billionaires increased their wealth by $1.8 trillion, about 58%, while 700,000 small businesses closed forevermore. And the wealth gap, by the way, also increased under Barack Obama himself. The percent of our population that lived under poverty increased by 1.6%, or 7 million
Numbers
people.
don't lie.
Also, he takes $400,000 per speech from Wall Street while he talks about the wealth gap and not caring about how much you make.
Living in his $1 million mansion with his husband.
And then here he makes some nonsensical claim that dealing with migration, because Donald Trump bad, deportation's bad, and by proxy you bad because you voted for it and you still support it, makes the claim that actually the way to solve it is something climate change. Don't get all wee-weed up.
Some bad stuff will happen, but you know what? That half a centigrade difference. That could be the difference. That could make a difference in a billion people's lives.
Right. Totally.
You know what? That half percent difference, that could be in entire coastal villages.
Let's assume he's correct.
What is wrong with you, fool?
What happens in Bangladesh, where
What happened?
hundreds of thousands or millions of people can eat instead of not eat.
Yeah.
It could affect whether or not people can make a living where they live, as opposed to trying to cross the oceans to migrate to places where they can, and all the political conflicts that come with that.
Okay, and this is kind of in the context of deporting bad, the policy approach toward immigration, the sort of mess that he's created is something to climate change. Okay, let's accept the premise that climate change is the reason
Take
for
his word.
mass migration.
Let's see.
All right. Former President Obama, you fix immigration through climate change policy. Get back to us on that. Until it kicks in, we'll build a wall and deport people. How about that? What a piece of this guy.
He has my soundbite. He has it. That wasn't me doing that. That was him.
It's an ocean. They could just go north.
This dude, look, this guy has 4 to 6 sound bites of farting noises just for this video.
Yes.
Bangladesh.
Yeah, now do
that example.
now being able to grow food. Do northern Canada. Do a lot of the Nordic countries where they have a longer growing season.
Oh.
Do cherries in Michigan, the most persnickety crop that exists in record yields, but the government tells farmers they have to dump it to keep prices artificially high. Let's go on to his Netflix partnership. You may not have known about this.
I just keep them in my house and eat them all year long. Put them in a deep freeze.
Crap like Leave the World Behind, which, by the way, in case you say, hey, I think this guy supports race baiting, let me show you a clip of one of his projects with Netflix where they directly they do the race baiting.
I'm asking for you to remember that if the world falls apart, trust should not be doled out easily to anyone, especially white people. Even Mom would agree with me on that.
I came over here and walked past me like...
I noticed you didn't say dad. Now...
We're like foxes. Can't trust us.
Can't trust white people. I'm assuming this is like a post-apocalyptic scenario, rebuilding the world. All right, how about this? You don't trust white people. You place trust in
and
the
we don't trust black people.
Largely
Done.
Ethiopia, but Africa. And see, give it 10,000 years, and see if, like in our instance right now in the real world, this universe, it still looks like Africa.
Yep.
Here's the thing, if nothing else, if you want a society that functions and you want to get rid of tribal warfare, cannibalism, child sacrifice, you kind of want to trust some white people, or really modern Christendom, but he can't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
That's right.
A piece of Now, here he goes.
Ooh.
I really hope Jason's not on yet.
He wants to subvert
There's number
our
8.
democracy, our constitutional republic, entirely by, after not being president, still meeting with nations or people or activists in nations that he doesn't like. And he'll tell you why that is.
Like many of you, I've become increasingly concerned about the rising wave of authoritarianism sweeping the globe. No one is being spared. Even countries that thought they were immune from wholesale assaults on democracy now understand We're all part of this struggle. I recently sat down with 3 leaders who are part of the Obama Foundation's alumni
What is
network
wrong with you,
to
fool?
discuss their work in Hungary and Poland, 2 countries on the leading edge of confronting autocracy. People like Stefania, Sandor, and Zuzana. They give me hope.
Zuzana.
And it's why a big part of our mission here at the Foundation is to connect, inspire, and empower leaders like them.
Democracy is something to be practiced regularly. We need people to be engaged and to be empowered for them to feel the ownership of their country, that it's theirs, and not to give it away to someone.
Now, I guess that would sound great, like if he was dealing with a Pol Pot, by the way, communist or Mao. You guys, Poland and Hungary, they both freely elected their leadership.
That's right.
Like, that's what he has a problem with. And by the way, Poland elected a conservative president. They
That's
still
right.
have a liberal prime minister. It's actually pretty damn balanced. Also, pretty damn safe. In 2023, the rape numbers in Poland were 1,130.
Poland actually uses live ammunition to deter people crossing. And they have the prime minister of Poland, I believe. Maybe it's not the prime minister. It's a younger guy. I watched a guy walk around with him and check the border crossings, and they were almost zero, like absolutely almost zero. It's because they give their troops live ammo to be able to do whatever it takes to keep them out. They are not welcome there, and that's why Poland is because they've dealt with immigration.
In the UK, 68,000.
Wow. Oh, jeez.
Poland kind of got trounced on. They were the butt of people's jokes, and they went a different direction and said, yeah, we're not going to keep tolerating that. But I will tell you this.
Immigration solved it.
Sort of set the stage for everything that we're experiencing now. And I hear this a lot when people talk about, well, actually, it's the rhetoric of Donald Trump. Don't you think it's the rhetoric of Donald Trump? That's why we have what we have right now. No, the single...
Do you think the rhetoric of Obama and Biden isn't what caused all these political assassination attempts? Do you think the left is so violent because of the rhetoric of Trump? No, it's the rhetoric of Biden and Obama and all these people. These are insane socialists
that set the wheels in motion for Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and this kind of soft civil war that we have right now was Barack Obama when he didn't need to say anything.
He damaged the country
to go
irreparably.
Out of his way and address what we now know were fraudulent claims on the initial Black Lives Matter race baiting case of Trayvon Martin. He decided that he just had to stick his oar in and let you know about it.
Okay.
But my main message is to the parents of Trayvon Martin. You know, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon.
And he kept talking about it, and he kept talking about it. And people like us who were raised in largely, I'm not saying that racism is ever eradicated, a post-racial America where our biggest film stars were Will Smith and Denzel Washington. Biggest shows were shows like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Steve Urkel, Family Matters. Right? The most recognizable faces on earth in the 90s were
the good old
Michael
days.
Jordan, Mike Tyson.
I remember
Michael
Michael
Jackson.
Jordan.
I know, okay, we'll call that a half point.
But they're all Michaels.
Yeah, and then after the first black president was elected, race relations became worse than ever. All of us thought, hey, at least with this happening, you know, at least now there'll be some healing that will take place.
Right.
Even if we didn't agree with his policies. And instead, they got unbelievably worse between 2013 and 2015
As soon as
alone.
Barack
the
became
percent of
president,
respondents
Democrats
to Gallup
became
saying that race
insanely
relations
violent.
were good. With white people, it went down by 27%.
That's just a field, though.
With black Americans, it went down by 15%. So I guess he was, in one way, the great uniter, in that he united Americans to fear, to mistrust, to revile their neighbor, and to divide us more than ever before, because you see that across the board.
The statistics
I'm really
show
glad
it.
we had some of that healing Barack Obama style. What a piece of sh**. This has been Barack Obama post-presidency. What a piece of sh**.
What an excellent video, guys. Holy crap. He had like 100 sound bites for the sounds, you know? I really enjoyed that. Steven Crowder is amazing. He's good at what he does. Maybe one day I'll be a good YouTuber like him. Don't forget to give him a subscribe and follow him as well. He's wonderful, wonderful, unbiased, fact-checkable. He provides all his sources. He's an excellent reference for anybody, Democrat or Republican, to at least see what's going on, and then you can make your own opinion. and that stuff. But if you watch the entire video, you are a saint. You are a trooper. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.